meeting of the Brainerd HRA Board of Commissioners. That's our call to order. Eric, could you call roll, please?
Yes, Imgrund.
Here.
Erickson. Here. Verkota.
Here.
Chezak.
Here.
Duval.
Here.
And Grasula.
Alrighty, not here.
Correct.
So we call roll with that. I'd be looking for a motion to approve the agenda for today's board meeting.
I'll make that motion, Verkota.
Is there a second?
Second, Imran.
Okay, Imgrind, and so any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. We're on to open forum. Open forum is a time allocated for citizens and tenants to bring matters not on the agenda to the attention of the Brainerd HRA Board. If you're going to give a report or wish to speak, please state your full name and address. You will be restricted to 3 minutes and no board action will be taken. At this point, there's no one in the gallery here. Is there anyone online? Okay, thank you. I did, I'll close open forum at 1:01. And we'll move to looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting from June 24th, 2026.
So move.
All right, Jessica, is there a second?
I'll second, Verkota.
Dakota, okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. And that takes care of that piece of business. And now we're on to unfinished business, which we have apparently finished because there's none. So we're on to new business, and we have this one. Eric, you'll be presenting item 7A, resignation of Commissioner Decker.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. That memo is on page 9 in your packet up on the screen. Commissioner Decker did submit her resignation by email on June 25th. I've prepared a certificate of appreciation to acknowledge her service on the board and to thank her for her time that she has dedicated to the agency. Ms. Decker's term was set to expire at the end of the year, and so staff will begin the process for a resident participant commissioner election. This is different than the other positions that we hold on the board that are directly put forward by the mayor and approved by the city council. With our resident commissioner, there is a vote for all of our participants, so that's not just our public housing participants, but also our voucher participants are eligible to put their name in to be a representative on this board. So staff usually goes out, looks for nominations, then they will get those back. Obviously, they have to reach out to all of our participants. Once we've got nominations, then we'll schedule a vote, and they can vote in person, they can vote online. I believe they can mail in their vote as well. So we'll hold an election, and at that point, we'll have somebody elected to, and what I would propose at this point, to fill the newest term that would start in January. The reason that I would recommend that, or staff would recommend that, is it does take, 2 to 3 months to put on this election. If we were to start after today, I would anticipate that we would have someone potentially seated by October, but then we would turn around again and have to do that same process to have someone, you would have to have another vote to have someone installed for January. So seeing as the timing is such, and I have spoken with Chair Duval about this, and I think we had at that point discussed trying to get someone in as soon as possible and then try to run them in through to the new term. I don't think that is the most viable option for us, because we would technically need to have another vote for that. You would hope that that person would get re-voted in, but it is a process and would take some time. So just looking for any discussion, any feedback on that. And Mr. Chair, it looks like we have one participant that would like to speak.
Thank you. Mr. Chesak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would ask to consider going through the normal nomination process and everything in line with that, and then just asking the mayor to hold off to make the appointment and just to begin at the beginning of 27. And that way you could have everything done and somebody be on board sooner than waiting to, that is a little different than what you're suggesting, is it not?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I, that, Mr. Chezak, that really is what I would have suggested to start the process. The idea being that that new resident that would get voted in could then attend these meetings. They can attend them and listen in and get a little bit of a flavor for what we're doing. And I can then meet with them in the lead up to them getting nominated through that process.
Okay, but, so you get, okay, I've got to get clarification. So you want to start the nomination process now?
Correct.
Okay, that would apply that, what I'm suggesting would just wait till the, essentially get it to the mayor.
Yep.
Ask him to make the recommendation by the beginning of the year.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, I misunderstood. Thank you very
No,
much.
thank you for
I
clarifying.
would be in favor of that then, if that's you're looking for feedback.
Thank you, Jeff. Any other questions of staff on this item? All righty, so at this point in time, there's really no formal action to be taken here. Staff will initiate the nomination process through the normal procedures. And
Sure, I would move that we accept the resignation and the letter of appreciation be sent out to former HRA board member Decker, and then have staff initiate the process of nominations.
Very good, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it, Erickson.
Very good. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. There you go. Thank you, Jeff. All right, we are moving on to item 8A, financial report by Finance Director Young. Karen, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Duval and members of the board. My memo is up on the screen, and it's page 13 and attachment 3 of the packet. We did want to let the board know, reflected in our June financials, we did receive our first half of our property tax levy. That was in the amount of $78,224. We received the second half of our first half deposit of $47,860 in July. So then that's our total first half deposit of $126,085. And then we also received our first half increment for our downtown TIF district, and that was for $9,230. And again, that bond debt has been paid off in 2022. We do have an interfund loan between that TIF district and our general fund for levy dollars that were pledged while we did have that debt. This wasn't a pay-as-you-go district, so the HRA did have to pledge levy as part of the financing for that bond debt. That's been paid off. So now as we're collecting increment until the district is decertified, it's paying off that interfund loan between the general fund and this TIF district.
Mr. Chesak.
Thank you. What is the actual district? What is the property?
Sure, it's the, what we have called the SEH building, or now the B. Johnson and Associates Accounting, next to Holiday,
Next to Holiday?
on South Sixth.
Okay, that,
And Mickey's.
oh, did that start out as SEH?
Yes,
Okay, thank you, that helps. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Everything changes, I can't keep up with it.
yes,
Right?
Appreciate it.
yeah. So we did collect that. And then, again, just as a reminder to the board, in August, then we'll present our preliminary general fund budget, which then will be submitted to the city upon approval as part of their budget process.
And if I may,
You may.
what's the term of that TIF program there? What's that expire?
Yeah, 2031.
Okay, thank you. That's all I got, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Anything further, Karen?
No, just requesting approval for our payments, which are at the back of the finance packet. They start on page 30 of our packet.
Thank you. Questions of staff on the finance report? Hearing none, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the payments as presented in the packet.
I'll make that motion,
Second.
Verkota.
Second?
Okay, Verkota motion, second Chesak. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you very much, Karen. We are on to the HCB report with Mallory Demmel. Ms. Demmel.
Thank you, Chair Duval. My report is attachment 4 and page 33 of the packet. For our Housing Choice Voucher Program, this month we were able to issue, last month we were able to issue 4 new vouchers with 3 new move-ins, which is great. As of July 9th, again, we have notified 30 new people for vouchers. And we're hoping for a good response from that. In a meeting yesterday, it was decided that we're going to continue to notify 30 to 50 people each month, depending on the response from the applicants of each notification round. We have been noticing a little less response than we're used to. So we're really going to just keep pushing every month through the end of the year to get all of our vouchers utilized. For family self-sufficiency, there was one household that graduated in June, and they had earned a total of $810.17 in escrow funds. And another household used their escrow funds to make repairs on his vehicle for $346, which is wonderful. On to the next page, for the Bring It Home program.
May I ask a question? I hate to interrupt.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. So on that FSS deal with helping repair vehicles, I know there's a good reason we help with that. I don't need to delve into that, but when we look at a vehicle, I'm assuming, are we fixing vehicles that are otherwise probably not good to invest in repairing if they're like really poor condition? Is there analysis of the type of vehicle, the shape it's in before we spend money on helping people fix a vehicle? Are we just throwing money after a vehicle that just in order to get it to run, we're putting money into it? You follow my thinking there?
I don't believe that we have any restrictions on the vehicles.
And again, from what I've seen, it's reimbursement. So the participants will come to us, I believe, with invoices. They had their vehicle repaired, they had new tires put on. That's an eligible expense through this family sufficiency program where we're, again, supporting them in going to school or going to work or bettering themselves. So I believe typically we get the invoice after they've already completed the repairs. We verify that it's, to them, and then we'll issue a disbursement as a reimbursement to funds they've already spent of their own.
Okay, but, so the scrutiny of the actual vehicle that we're reimbursing repairs on, is it maintenance too, oil change, that type of thing? Or is it just like, you said tires, that seems like an ongoing thing. I mean, if somebody's transmission goes out and it's $1,500 to fix that, and it's, it's a $20,000 vehicle while it's sitting there, I can see putting that money into it. But if the vehicle's worth $2,000 and we're spending $1,500 to fix a transmission, is that a good use of our money? That's where I would question. And based on that alone, can I see that policy we used to follow through with the reimbursement to FSS? Would that be something you can get to me, Eric?
Yeah, and so if I may, Mr. Chair, just address some of the questions. So Commissioner Chesak, the Family Self-Sufficiency Program, which we will get the program documents to you as far as what's allowable. I think to wrap your head around what that program is designed to do, number one, while that individual is basically weaned off the federal assistance of a voucher. So what happens, as they are working and they get paid more, their housing assistance payment from HUD goes down and down and down. And what we replace that, or HUD replaces that with an escrow account. So these are still funded through HUD. It's not coming out of the Brainerd HRA balance sheet on the general fund.
Okay.
And what HUD has said is we want to put a pathway out there for individuals to get off of the federal assistance. And during that time, while they've got, it's usually a 5-year period to work through this program. Okay. If something catastrophic happens, which in that household could be I don't have tires on my car to get to work, that would be a catastrophic failure for that unit because no longer they are able to get that income. So I think HUD is a pretty broad brush on, as long as it is helping you be self-sufficient to graduate through the program, we'll let you take these escrow funds out. And then at the end, what the ideal is, if they've not had to have escrow taken out through that 5-year period, is to have a nest egg to either go out and rent on the open market, potentially put a down payment down on a house, or to your point, maybe buy a new car. But that is the reasoning behind that program and why HUD feels so strongly about funding it and allowing these kind of one-off payments, if that makes sense.
Okay, and again, it does make sense. Okay, so do we track repairs then of any individual that's doing this? So the first thing that comes to mind, somebody gets new tires and we're reimbursing them, even though we are reimbursed for that money we're giving out, right, from HUD?
Right.
Okay, so in that regard, somebody comes in and we're reimbursing them for, I don't know, maybe it's $400 or $500 for tires. I get that, that makes sense. Well, then next year, if they're doing the same thing, what are they doing with those tires? Are they turning around and selling them to somebody else? My mind works in a way that I have to make sure that there's nothing like this going on. Would that be ever questioned by us?
It would be scrutinized.
Okay.
You know, from our staff's perspective, we've got our FSS coordinator who receives the information, vets that with the participant. Then our manager receives that information, reviews it. Our finance department also reviews it, and then we've got a number of set of eyes.
Okay.
To prevent what you are thinking could happen.
It's good to know. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think it's excellent question, Commissioner Chesak, but also it feels super complex.
Yeah.
A vehicle is a means, by which, an individual experiences self-sufficiency. It's either getting to the job or it's getting to the grocery store.
Yeah, tell me
There
about
are
it.
alternatives to that. Obviously, the public transit in the city can accomplish some of those. I think the tires is an excellent example, though. And is it reasonable or is it foreseeable that a new set of tires could require replacement in a year? And I would say it's possible if the alignment is out. So there's another piece that needs repair. And how do you, does the individual know that, or can they intuit that the reason my tires are getting scalloped or whatever is because of an alignment issue, which then I need money to be able to then make that repair. So there's a cascade of things. I think if someone were to analyze those repair requests, you might be able to help guide them, but boy, that'd be probably difficult for staff to do. But I think it's a good point, and to the extent that staff can be tracking this as they are, I think that's fair. So thank you for that question.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it.
Mallory, please.
Thank you all for your input on that. In kind of racking my brain, I'm going back to try to remember what this specific one was for. I do believe it was a car battery and then something else small. But yes, thank you to everybody for that. For the Bring It Home State Rental Assistance Program, as of June 30th, 42 vouchers had been issued of the 49 approximately that we were given budget for. Jasper just told me this morning that it is his goal to have it at 49 by next month. So, and I imagine that he will probably get there. So that is wonderful.
As long as you pause, may I, on the vouchers, regarding, I guess, vouchers for any program, just so I'm understanding this, we issue the vouchers, now it's up to the tenant or the potential tenant to find that place to rent, and then they have to get the owner or landlord to agree to that, and then we scrutinize that and decide if we're gonna allow them to do the voucher program. Would that be a fair way of putting it in a nutshell, or is my gut?
To some degree, yes. So yes, we issue the vouchers, give them the information that they need in terms of what their spending power is. It's kind of a math problem that goes into that.
Yep.
So we give them their max allowable rent, which is what the rent amount plus the utilities that they are responsible for paying would equal. And as long as the unit they find is at that or below, then for that it works. The participant gives the potential new landlord or their current landlord what we call a request for tenancy approval that they fill out, which tells us how much the rent is, what utilities they pay. And then once we're done with that, then we would move on to the unit inspection to make sure that the standards meet the HUD standards.
And then the difference between what's allowable goes to the owner or landlord of the property between what they actually pay for rent, that we subsidize that.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you for allowing me the questions, because I'm new to this.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
All
You're
good
welcome.
questions.
Okay.
That's kind of all I have as far as my report, unless there are additional questions.
Questions of staff? Mallory, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we are now moving on to item 8C, Housing Management Report. This is typically Hannah Gangle. Eric, do you take this one?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you for that. Hannah is actually at training today, so I will be a fill-in, and hopefully a suitable fill-in for you guys for this report that is on page 37 of your packet, up on the screen as well. As typical, we've got a vacancy report for the month. Occupancy rate, happy to report, is at 100% for public housing properties. That's always the goal. Those do have some blips every now and again, but we're happy to be at 100%. The staff works hard to get those units turned over if we do have vacancies, and then get them suitable for rent as quickly as possible. Ross program updates. We had 30 residents that were able to get food boxes for the month. These are for the elderly tenants only. As shared last month by Hannah, we do have Katie Sandberg has joined us for our new Ross coordinator, the resident occupational self-sufficiency service coordinator. She started on June 23rd. We are very thrilled to have her starting her 4th week of work here, and still getting her feet wet on that. No events have been planned for the month of July. We do anticipate as we move forward that we'll get some more events for our residents. We do have a Brainerd Police Department and Crow Wing County Public Health that are being planned, kind of a coffee with the cop, to have our tenants ask questions of police department to understand when it's appropriate, or when they should be calling law enforcement, when they should be calling 911, when they should be calling the office or service. Those sometimes might be thought of as a common sense type of thing, but it is really a great opportunity to have that dialogue back and forth to hear not just from our staff. And
Mr.
so
Chair.
we're gonna,
I apologize. I hope you don't
Doesn't-
mind.
No.
I think you shifted from Ross to, you moved on?
this is still like the Ross programming.
It's okay if I ask a question, really. You mentioned it's for the elderly. What defines elderly?
Yeah, so that's for the food boxes. I don't know the specific age.
Okay, but there is,
Commissioner Pezak, but there is an age requirement for those food boxes.
it doesn't have nothing to do with income?
It does not, to my knowledge.
That's interesting. There's,
I think maybe I should qualify that.
Okay.
Knowing that our tenants in our building are income qualified, my assumption is that there's an income qualification for that and an age qualification for that.
and you can, I don't have that information on that program either, do I? As far as you know.
As far as I know, that's correct.
Can you send that to me?
Yep, absolutely.
There's a lot of stuff I've gotten from Eric over the last couple months, so
And we'll continue to provide the information that you can.
thank you
Yep,
very much.
not a problem. All right, waiting list, just contacting applicants on the public housing waiting list to confirm their continued interest. Making sure that waiting list is active and in good standing. As I mentioned today, the 22nd, we've got Lizzie in our housing department and Hannah. They're attending a mental health first aid certification course put on by the National Council of Mental Wellbeing. It's a full day course. We've got some of our maintenance staff also going there, understanding that these are really our frontline folks that are working with our tenants. And so if we are better able to identify and help with mental health crises, at least identify, we can hopefully find our partners and provide some better outreach to our tenants that might be having some difficulties. So it doesn't train us to be mental health professionals, but it helps us to key in on maybe some warning signs to hopefully get the right help to our tenants if they need it. So we're excited about that. And then next week, we've got some more housing staff going to some training up in Fergus Falls, put on by Nan McKay. They are the ones that have created our ACOP, which is our housing plan. They are kind of the bellwether top trainers for kind of all things public housing and housing authority. So we've got Lizzie and Hannah going to a couple of days training next week up in Fergus Falls. It's nice that it is kind of in our backyard. Usually these national trainings, we do have to send people out of state for. So the kind of as an aside, our regional directors group has discussed this, and that's where Fergus Falls Housing Authority has taken upon themselves to kind of recruit a number of other agencies in the state of Minnesota to say, hey, if we put this training on in our backyard, can we get enough people? So very appreciative to that partnership that they can get some national training to central and western Minnesota.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Chesak.
you mind if I back up on the eligibility for housing based on income? I just got a hypothetical for you, Eric. So I get a unit in HRA housing, and I'm qualify for based on a certain amount of income, and maybe you can tell me what the limit is on that to qualify, if you know that off the top of your head, or roughly. Do you know if there's a?
I don't off the top of my head.
Okay. Does anybody know here? If there's a
Ms.
limit?
Demmel will attempt. She used to be in our public housing side on Crosby.
I did. So my information stored is about 3 years old.
Okay.
But it's for public housing specifically, like the North Star and those units that we own and manage. I believe for a one-person household, it's somewhere between $40,000 and $50,000. They have to make under that amount.
Okay.
So for public housing, it's actually fairly high,
Yep.
which is great because then more people qualify.
And then, of course, their rent is just based on that. They pay a lot more than somebody who makes 10,000.
Correct.
Okay, so
Yep.
based on that, if they move in, they have an apartment, they're established, they're paying the required amount of rent, and then somehow they get their job, it increases to $100,000. They're making double, say, what's allowed. Doesn't their rent just go up effectively? You can't terminate their lease, can you, based on that? Or-
So people can become considered over income.
Okay.
But I believe when someone becomes over income in public housing, they get a full year's notice. And we'd have to double check with Hannah. But I believe it's a full year notice, so that they have sufficient time to find other housing as they no longer qualify for the housing they live in.
Yep.
In terms of rent, however, we do have what's called a flat rent. So once your income becomes high enough to a certain point, it'll just kind of top out.
It's like market rate then.
Kind of, yeah. And people do still have the option to stay income-based if they want to, even if that goes above that flat rent. I've never seen anyone do that.
Okay.
But they do have the option.
Okay, thank you very much, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Weeks interior, Eric, or is that your report?
That is all I have on that report, Mr. Chair.
Wasn't gonna let you get out of it that.
Easy one there.
I'll brush up.
Waiting list update, is this different from our heavy maintenance at the end of the year, end of the calendar year?
I believe that we are just trying to do this kind of
Freshening.
ongoing, yes.
And then at the end of the calendar year, we're doing that heavy lift to basically clean the list up. Perfect. Okay, thank you. Any other questions of staff?
Well, Mr. Chair, you mentioned maintenance. That's, I noticed that the last couple months now, and I may be moving ahead here, what's on the agenda, I can't remember where this comes up, but I see the inspections, there's nothing done so far with our 203 units. Is that what you're referring to?
No, I'm sorry. It was maintenance of the rental assistance list.
Okay, so maintenance on the actual units is, I just jumped to that inspection. I think that's coming up, is it not? Is that something that's coming
That
up?
would have been part of Eric's report.
That is part of the
Okay.
data from that report. Since we go into our maintenance and rehab report next, I think Mr. Schomer would be able to speak to kind of what we do for inspections to a certain amount, or even Mallory. So, anyone want to jump in on where we at, how we look at those inspections for those units?
So for the public housing units, we do have to conduct annual inspections at a minimum. So we have to go in every unit. We can do those more frequently, which we will do if we're finding tenants that are having problems keeping their homes clean, safe. Again, it's safe, decent, sanitary housing. So a lot of times you do have people who might have mental health issues that struggle to keep their unit clean to the point where it could impede egress if there is an emergency or something. In situations like that, we will inspect more often, but we're required to do at least one annual inspection per year for each public housing unit.
So we have 203 units, so we have done no inspections yet this year for those 203 units, but we're required to do all of them every year.
That is correct. And those will be starting here in the next coming months.
That's what I-
Typically, they're done towards the end of summer, going into fall.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Very good. Thank you. Any other questions of the staff? Hearing none, we'll move on. John, you can keep the talking stick here and give us the
Okay.
rehab report, please.
Thank you, Chair, to all members of the board. That is attachment 6 on page 41, or up on the screen if you're following along. We do have those 2 small cities development program grants that are currently ongoing. The southeast Brainerd one is where we have 8 units of owner-occupied housing and 12 units of single-family rental rehab. We did have 3 applications in. All 3 of those did fall through. The owners decided not to move forward with them, so we are back to having 5 units of single-family rental rehab available. That grant does close out September 30th unless we ask for an extension. Britt has been doing a lot of marketing on Facebook. She's received quite a bit of interest, but no applications to this point. And I saw just this afternoon, she got another email, which is now a chain or a string of emails with a gentleman she's been working with to try and help him decide if he wants to move forward with rehabbing his rental house. And if that should happen, we will definitely request an extension from the Department of Employment and Economic Development. But at this point, we currently don't have any active applications for those units. So continue trying to get the word out wherever we can. Again, we do attend the rental owners meeting that happens at the police department. Occasionally, we don't go every month, but we will attend to try and get that word out. And just, again, word of mouth, anyone here that would know landlords that have single-family units, that is eligible throughout the city of Brainerd, unlike the owner-occupied homes that are stuck just in those target areas. So our current rehab projects down below, you can see, the crux of those are happening throughout Crow Wing County. We do have our work orders for public housing. There were 92 total work orders, non-emergency work orders received. 87 of those were complete. Of those 92 work orders, those do include our unit turns. This month, we had 6 public housing unit turns, so that's part of the reason you're seeing that little bit of gap there. We had 6 emergency work orders, and those were completed in the required 24-hour time frame. That's the end of my report. If there's any questions for me.
Thank you, John. I would be curious if we know why the applicants were withdrawn, if there's some sort of a barrier or something that is turning our landlords away from taking advantage of the program. Do you have a sense of that, or Brett? Either of you?
I do. So there were 2 owners over 3 different properties. The first one we were dealing with, there were some foundational issues with the home. Part of the small cities in any rehab program we have to address lead if that's a pre-78 home. Just the costs to not abate the lead, but to make it lead safe. So an example is covering peeling paint on a fascia. We're over $31,000. There's $25,000 available. So that property owner is responsible for anything over and above that $25,000. So they would have had to spend $6,000 of their own dollars just to get the lead work done. The total bid was $72,000. So to correct the foundation issues they had, replace some windows. The bathroom was in severe need of rehab. there was quite a bit of deterioration to the support under it. And the owner just said it simply isn't worth it. She'd just as soon sell it as dump that much money into it. She'd never get it out. The other property owner, essentially, we went through it all and she came back and said she didn't have the funds to move forward. So they are made aware of that. They're required to sign a form saying they'll reimburse us for example, the lead risk assessments are $550 per assessment. And then if there is lead in that work it's done, it has to have a clearance inspection to make sure that there's no lead hazards to the occupants. But even just given that, she decided she didn't have enough funds or chose not to spend the funds to move forward with those projects.
So it's financial and not something fundamentally unattractive about the program.
In these instances, yes.
Thank you. And I just would make the comment on beating the bushes a bit, that unfortunately the landlord group is in summer hiatus and coming back in September, which puts you right on top of your deadline. So it might be worth contacting the person that heads that group, and maybe they can just do an email blast or forward a blast out to you.
Britt actually has the rental ownership list from the city of Brainerd. They've been great partners with us.
Great,
She has
great.
sent emails to every single one. She has started calling some of them to try and, they might not know about it. I mean, sometimes, an email gets put to junk and they don't, so I think she's been working very hard to get that word out for sure.
Perfect. Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
very good. Any other questions of staff on the rehab? Thank you, John. We're on to item 8E, the Executive Director Report. Mr. Charpentier.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. My memo is on page 43 of your packet. It is up on the screens as well. I was invited to participate in a regional roundtable discussion regarding HUD's Work and Dignity Initiative last week on July 15th. The meeting was hosted by our regional administrator. His name is Dewey Strobel. Included some representatives from 9 public housing authorities across northern Minnesota and Wisconsin. HUD really utilized this roundtable to try to gather feedback regarding this initiative that they've just rolled out recently within the last month, to kind of discuss how housing authorities are already supporting resident self-sufficiency. So for us in particular, we're already doing the FSS program. And then they were really there just to encourage PHAs to join that Emerging Work and Dignity Coalition. Give you a little bit of background on what it is. It's an initiative that HUD is, priority focused on helping assisted households increase not only economic mobility, improve self-sufficiency, and connect with resources that can lead to greater independence. HUD emphasized that the initiative is intended to support residents through employment, education, financial capability, and supportive services, rather than just creating additional regulatory requirements, which they have promised this program would not do. We know how those work, but they've said that there are no further regulatory requirements if we're going to be tracking this. HUD specifically identifies FSS, which we have under our umbrella, as well as the ROS program, as important tools supporting the initiative. Some of the key points that we discussed at that roundtable: they continue to tell us that participation in the coalition is voluntary. Currently no funding requirements associated with participation. Also means that there's no funding coming in for that. No new mandates attached to the initiative, but agencies that are already aligned with the goals may not need to make significant operational changes, which we agree that we wouldn't necessarily need to make operational or significant operational changes to be a participant, be a good participant. HUD's described the initiative as more of a mindset than a mandate. I did appreciate hearing that from the regional administrator. I truly hope that that's the case, that, I think we're already aligned well to do that. Implementation will look different in every housing authority, which we know that already from all of the different housing authorities that do things a little bit differently. So what's going to work for potentially Brainerd doesn't necessarily work or will be implemented for St. Cloud and Minneapolis. So we know that, and we appreciate that HUD is looking at that as more individualized. End goal really is to help residents enrich their lives, move toward greater independence, which I think, there's a lot of support for that, not only in an administration, but in general population. Initiative is not intended to harm elderly households, persons with disabilities, families with children, and HUD stated protections remain in place for those populations. So really, they're looking at it from able-bodied, working age individuals that this is going to benefit or try to benefit. HUD's outlays of the benefits for this participation. The opportunity is to provide direct feedback to HUD as the initiative evolves. I think that is a huge benefit. If we are at the table, we are able to at least provide input to what HUD is going to do as far as directions. I don't know that we have the greatest voice, but if we are part of that coalition, we get to be a voice for that. Early awareness of future policy and program discussions. We get to collaborate with our peer agencies throughout the region, which we already try to do anyway. The ability to help shape practical implementation approaches based on our local experience, and increased visibility of Brainerd HRA's successful self-sufficiency efforts is what they're saying. As discussed during the roundtable, it's generally advantageous to be involved in the conversation when these new initiatives are being developed rather than trying to observe from the sidelines. I do certainly agree with that. If you're at the table, again, you can have positive feedback, and hopefully that feedback gets listened to on the front side of things. Based on that information that was presented by HUD and the peers that I got to talk with, I would support participating in that Work and Dignity Coalition. Participation would not require additional funding commitments. And we are already, I think, doing as much as we would need to be a good coalition partner. I wanted to bring this to the board just so you're aware that I had that opportunity. HUD does want to see people kind of signing on to these coalitions, so really looking for some feedback from the board if you think this is a worthwhile thing, and we can take it from there. And with that, Mr. Chair, I will ask for questions or discussion.
Thank you, Eric. What's the scope of the coalition? Is it Region 5? Is it nationwide? Is it Minnesota?
It is nationwide.
Nationwide. So the coalition regional administrator brought his or her states together to have this conversation.
Yeah, he's having, that region administrator is having additional conversations throughout the region. The region, I believe, is Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa. I don't know if it's Michigan or the Dakotas, but it's rather robust. But my understanding is each regional administrator is having these discussions, multiple discussions throughout the regions.
And the opportunity to affect decision-making or initiatives at HUD would be funneled up through the region's funneling that up to DC, is that kind of the?
That's the intention, yes.
Okay. Other questions of staff? Mr. Chesak?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Eric, you said this was a roundtable based on an area of northern Minnesota and parts of Wisconsin, did I understand?
Yes, there was one representative from Superior, Wisconsin. This was held up in Duluth, and then there were a number of agencies from the kind of northern tier of Minnesota.
So would you say of all the invitees, what do you think the percentage was of who showed up and like?
So
any idea?
I don't. I will preface this by saying that I wasn't on the initial list. I know that just because I got the invitation forwarded to me by HUD. So I don't know how many people they outreach to for that specific roundtable. I think of the 9 that we had there, I think there were another 2 that were on the invite list that weren't able to show up that day. So of that, 11, 12-ish.
So then moving forward, if this Brainerd HRA participates, do you know what kind of requirements you'll have as far as time spent away at these roundtable type meetings, or will it?
Great question. They did not discuss any future roundtable discussions that would be on the schedule.
Okay.
So I don't have an answer for that.
And the reason I'm asking is because there is a cost for you going to that, correct?
Correct. You have your mileage, and if there were overnights, obviously that would be included.
Did you stay overnight for this one?
I did not. Drove up and back that day.
All right. All right, well, that was, I guess, my concern, if this is gonna be a frequent thing, a very sporadic or very, limited. I can't see any, a meeting once a year or twice a year is one thing, but if it's
Yeah.
every month, I'd be a little hesitant to be spending money on travel costs and expenses of whatever else, but, yeah, and of course, you'll let us know when you participate, I would assume.
That's correct, and my estimation would be on the 1 to 2 times a year at most. I wouldn't anticipate this being a frequent thing.
Okay. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yep, thank you. Any other questions of staff on this item?
And I just do have one other item that I,
Well, I'm thinking about whether we'd like to take a formal action to
sure.
empower you to be here. I
Absolutely.
mean, we could do staff guidance, or we might do it by motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd move to approve that our HRA staff participate in this initiative.
Thank you, Mr. Chesak. Is there a second?
I'll second for Coda.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor, excuse me, Mr.
We
Erickson.
have a budget, don't we, for education,
we do, yeah,
training?
correct.
And so that's where the funds came from for you to go up there.
Yeah, I would just always say that we have general, like, travel, stipends built into the budget for any, whether it's training or, a conference, that type of thing. So
So it wasn't something outside the budget.
I wouldn't say, and Director Young.
Sure, and I can just add, in this case, it would be our federal program funds covering this expense, so it would come just out of our travel budget, and then public housing and housing choice vouchers, since it was related to HUD initiative, would cover the cost of any travel or if there were overnights or anything. So it wouldn't hit our general fund budget, but come out of our federal programs.
Great, excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Erickson. Thank you, Karen. Well, all right, with that, call for a vote here. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Thank you. And we encourage you to have fun there. You have more items.
Just one item to note for the board. We are going to be holding a staff meeting / team building exercise tomorrow afternoon. Normally, the day after our board meetings, we hold a staff meeting, all staff meeting, usually in the mornings. We're going to switch it up a little bit this month. Take some time away from the office for a couple of hours to work on some team bonding, team building, and just generally, we'll discuss HRA items, but also try to do some icebreakers and things like that. So something we haven't done in a long, long time, and we're looking forward to it, but we are going to close the office down from 1 o'clock till 4:30, which is the end of our day, to do that, to get off-site, and we will make sure that our buildings reflect that, so our tenants and residents know. Just wanted you guys to be aware of that.
All right, very good. Thank you, Eric.
Are there any expenses involved with that, Eric?
Expenses are being covered by our senior staff.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
All righty, so that concludes item 8E. I would like to acknowledge City Administrator Broyles was present. Do you have any city business that you would care to share with us?
I do not have anything to share, but thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you. With that, we're on to Commissioner comments. Ms. Imgrind, would you like to get us started?
I will. I couldn't help but giggle about our last staff outing. We went mini golfing, so I hope you guys have fun with whatever you're doing. And I wanted to just say I do really appreciate the efforts with the mental health trainings and the collaboration with community partners. As somebody who works with the same demographic and a lot of people in the North Star building, I think that it's progressive and supportive, and I like it. So thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Mr. Chesak, would you please?
Yeah, I got a question. It doesn't have to do with our board, but it's of our staff. I guess it might be to Eric. It has to do with the item in the county HRA board packet that we all received. And it has to do with the Breezy Point properties that are included in that professional development agreement. I was a little concerned because it indicated that you now, are based on moving forward with that draft of the PDA, it indicated that you have to go to Breezy Point, planning and zoning, and then following up if there's, I believe, approval or whatever they do. I suppose their city council can do whatever they want over planning and zoning. You know more about that, Mike, than I would. I'm sorry, it's kind of anyway. But what you said there was, it won't come back now until sometime in September after the Breezy City Council looks at those properties or perhaps approves those to be in the development plan. And I was taken aback because he also indicated that this was also done for Baxter, to get the Baxter properties included last fall in October. I guess my question would be, the application for that came in April, and yet it took until perhaps July to figure out that we have properties in Breezy we now have to add in there. Is there a reason why that didn't get caught before moving forward with the draft PDA?
If I might, Mr. Chesak, I'm kind of thinking this is a Crow Wing County HRA business item. Is it under that?
No, this is, he's our staff, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm referring to his working as a shared services agreement with the county HRA board, and they have no authority over him, correct? We do. That's why I'm asking. That's the question I have. Why, how did that get missed? That's my question.
Yep, so I'm happy to answer that, Commissioner Chesak. So similar to the Baxter redevelopment plan being added, and I would just like to clarify that these aren't the specific properties in Breezy Point or specific properties in Baxter. When we amend that redevelopment plan, that is, and that's the county HRA's redevelopment plan for tax forfeited properties, that is going to, and looking to those communities to say, are you okay with us adding your community to this redevelopment plan? I know that wasn't the question, but wanted to just clarify what that was. To the question of shouldn't it have been caught previously, I would say in full disclosure, yes, I wish it would have gone quicker, and I wish I would have realized that much like Baxter in the fall, that we would need to do this with Breezy Point. And once we spoke or got correspondence from our legal counsel to say, oh, you need to do this, that next step was to reach out to Breezy Point to do that. So a little bit of an oversight on my end, not realizing that we were in a third area now of the county, and then secondarily waiting to hear that feedback from our legal counsel to say this is the next step, and that is why.
Okay, then in that case, when it came to the Baxter properties, do we have to identify each specific property in that redevelopment plan? It does appear that we do.
My understanding was that we were, setting the stage with the Baxter Planning and Zoning and City of Baxter to say we are interested in doing redevelopment within the City of Baxter, but it's more broadly based in the city. Yes, it's going to specifically state those properties, but my understanding is if we do another project that has Baxter properties, you wouldn't then go back again to the City of Baxter to put those specific properties in. So that's why I don't believe we would need to do that for this specific PDA.
Okay, so being that the Breezy was not indicated in the PDA or the development plan, so we don't have to go back to Baxter based on there's additional properties that haven't been identified, is what you're saying, right?
That's my understanding.
I would, and again, I would emphasize that this is not business of the Brainerd HRA, this is business of the Crow Wing County HRA, so the we piece is the Crow Wing County HRA board, and so I appreciate the lines of questioning, but I think it's a conversation.
Well, I would disagree, Mr. Chair, that the we is our board and we is HRA staff.
And
that's what I'm referring to.
And we have a
as
professional development agreement that
Yes,
that
but I'm
basically
referring to the
provides
we as our
services.
staff, Mr. Chair, not we as in our board, to clarify. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any further, Mr. Chesak?
Nope, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rigoda?
I'm good.
How are you?
I've got nothing today.
Thank you. Mr. Erickson?
And I'm good to go. Yep.
Very good. All right, well, and I would certainly just like to echo our previous agenda topic and just express my appreciation for the service that Janet Decker provided us over her years of service here. She's been here on this board, or served on this board longer than I have, and I've been a couple of terms here, so we'll miss her, and I look forward to what candidates come forward to join us and help continue the work there that we do on this board and the role of the resident commissioner. With that, I'm looking, before I do that, our next meeting is scheduled for August 26th here at Council Chambers, and I'll be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All right,
Erickson, second?
okay, any discussion? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 1:55, and some hustling needs to go here.